What is up, Squared Nation? Welcome back to No Counters, No Combos, and today we're going to be going over a heavily requested Majin Vegeta deck profile. Shout out to Jacob for letting me get a peep at his list for you guys. He did take first place at our recent shop championship. You can see the gameplay featured on the channel against Launch. That was the final matchup. He took first place overall, undefeated. I don't even think he dropped a game. So I think he was just EXO all the way through. Shout out to him. Obviously, Majin Vegeta is a very powerful deck, but it's not something that we see heavily represented in the meta a lot because of the glass cannon factor of the deck. But I definitely credit Jacob in playing something, sticking to it, figuring the ins and outs of it, and adapting it to everything in the format currently, and just knowing our player base at our local shop at Gamer's Edge. So the first card, let's go over the leader just in case. If you don't know what the leader does, he's Vegeta and Babidi on the front. Once per turn, when he attacks, you can take a life, draw a card, and he would gain plus 5k and double strike. So he'd be a 15k double strike for the turn. And he has the Overlord skill, as well as you can awaken at 5 or less life, flip this card to the backside, and untap 2 energy. When he's awakened, he's a 15k attacker. His activate main, now it's not an auto, it's an activate main. You can take a life, draw a card, plus 5k and double strike for the turn. You can activate the Overlord skill, of course, because he has that keyword. And activate main, you can pay 1 green energy to go to the bottom of your deck. And if it's a card if it's a Majin Vegeta card with Servant, you can play him for 1 energy. So it's just really good at filtering cards. And obviously you're playing the bottom deck draw 2 super combo, so you can kind of know what's down there at all times for your skills to resolve properly. And of course, you do have a couple of options that we're going to go over here in the deck as far as resolving that effect. So that's pretty much what the leader does. Now, from watching Jacob, from the gameplay, you can make the argument that the strategy of this deck is to... I'm just trying to pull up something here for you guys. Hold on. The strategy of this deck is to try to resolve Majin Quickening as fast as possible so you can go into your Buu chain. So as we see the deck laid out here on the screen, he's playing 3 Majin Quickening, he's playing 4 Babidis, he's playing 2 Hachiyak, and then you're playing your resident Buu chain, right? So the reason you play the Hachiyak is because you can discard the Hachiyak for 1 energy, and you can go into your deck and grab an Evil Wizard Babidi and play him to the board. The 1-drop Evil Wizard Babidi, once you fetch him from the deck, is going to go ahead and activate your field spell. So it's just it's basically 2 extra copies of your field spell. Babidi plays a field spell, so that's 4. You're playing 3, that's 7, 2 more. So you're technically playing 9 copies of Majin, the Quickening, right? Which is really good, especially in a deck that basically revolves around that strategy. Now, the Quickening is a field spell. Basically, when you take damage, or when you take life damage being Majin Vegeta, you take the top card of your deck and you put it underneath. When that card has 4 cards underneath, you can send all of them to the drop area, and you can play a 3-cost Majin Buu from the deck. As you can see, we have a couple of choices here. You have the Fat Buu 20k barrier, or you have the Super Buu that comes out and pops a card, which is really good because then that allows you to go up into your Xeno chain, which is the bread and butter of this deck. The Parasitic Star Dragon Ball allows you to play it over a 3-cost Majin Buu, and then go into your deck and play a 4-cost Majin Buu with Xeno in its name on top in active mode. Now, this combo was effective when it first came out, right? Because you have a couple of targets that you can go into as part of the set 11 set cards that came out. But with the release of the Ultimate deck, the Toa Ultimate deck, they gave us another 4-drop Xeno Kid Buu. And this card is disgusting, right? He's a 20k barrier. When he comes out, he looks at top 7 for a Dark Broly or a battle card with Xeno in its name. Non-black, of course. Non-black battle card with Xeno in its name, and just plays it. Cost 9 or less. So you bring this guy out, you look at top 7, and you can grab in this deck, you can grab your Frieza or your 7-drop Royal Absorption. Royal Absorption, remember, is 25k, dual attack, double strike, and you just played him for free. So this is why the volatility of the deck is disgusting. You could probably push for turn 2, turn 3 kills with this combo, and it just has the added bonus of when this card is in rest mode, if your leader was to attack, if your opponent was to attack your leader, they have to discard 2 cards once per turn. So it does have that hand destruction effect, which green is known for, but you're not really playing too many hand destruction elements based off of Jacob's list here. A couple of other highlights I'd like to go over. I want to look at this Piccolo Unison. Let me see if I can pull him up, because I noticed Jacob was resolving his effects a lot, during the gameplay, and when I was doing the commentary, I wasn't exactly sure what the Piccolo did. So I definitely felt like I dropped the ball as far as card knowledge is concerned. So I have him here just so we can pull him up and talk about him. He is a 2-cost green Unison. Piccolo, King Piccolo, Dimensional Conqueror. He's a 2-cost green Unison, I believe. Yeah, 2-cost green Unison. He has the Rejuvenate keyword, which is irrelevant in this game. Activate main for 1 green. If your leader is mono green and your opponent has 7 or more cards in their hand, you can play this card from your hand with a marker on it, so it comes out for 1 less. And you can't play Unison cards for the turn. So you can basically tap 1, play him. He comes with a marker. His activate main is +1. Choose 1 card in your hand, place it under this card. You and your opponent draw 1 card, then choose 1 green battle card with an original energy cost of 1 in your hand and play it. At the end of the turn, your opponent chooses up to 1 card in their hand and places it at the bottom of their deck. So this Unison is kind of in line with your Lord Slug strategy that we got in set 12. But what's really good about it is the 1-drop target that you can play off of the Unison is your Tournament Pack promo Majin Vegeta Servant card, which when he comes in takes a life, 15k double strike, 25k double strike, and he's a servant. So he's just going to put massive amounts of pressure on the board, and you can see Jacob resolve this effect quite a number of times in the game. So it's just another way of, pushing your strategy forward and just kind of aggroing your opponent down. Now, as far as meta is concerned, you can make the argument that Demigra is the best green or maybe Unison in the game entirely, especially because it's only a 1-drop and it turns on your counter skills very early. But you can see here, Jacob doesn't even main Frieza. He has him in the sideboard. You're obviously maining Dormant because that's your only negate that you're maining, and it's probably one of the best ones you can have, but you're not maining your counterplays. So it's not a strategy that he's really going forward. He's just looking for turn card sideways, just mindless aggression, and just beat your opponent before they can recover and establish their board with their resources, which is exactly what he did in that launch game, right? Launch just generally just draws a lot of cards, so she's going to out-combo you or just, pressure you. But when you're going tall and you're going with these big, beefy double strike boys, it's a lot to deal with for any deck, right? So that, I like that synergy there that he has. You obviously have your Parasitic Star Dragon Balls, which are going up your chain. You have your Quickening, your Bobbity, you have your Dormant Potential. Now, this Tapion card, again, this is another interesting tech choice that he decided to go with here. This was a card that we got in Draft Box 6 as part of the Hirudegarn chain. And it is I believe it's a 2-cost blue-green 16k blocker. I'm just going to pull it up here. He's actually 15k. Tapion, Fate of a Hero. He's a 2-cost, 1 green, 1 blue, energy exhaust blocker. Activate main, blue-green. If your leader card is green or Phantom Demon, you can discard this card from your hand, choose 1. Draw a card, then play this card from your drop area, or activate 1 sealed box from your deck and shuffle. So, obviously, you're going to pay that energy to discard it, draw a card, and then play it, which is going to let you dig through your deck, but it's also going to give you defense, right? It's a 15k blocker, or offensively you can use it as a 15k swing. So just more draw power, more opportunities for you to see your pieces, which is really interesting. It's a very nice tech choice. Moving forward, it might be one of those things where it's a cuttable card, but obviously, Jacob went undefeated and won the entire tournament. So there's really no arguing here at this point. It's just a really nice tech option. Give you slight defense, especially since you're not maining your Frieza counterplays. Super combo, bottom deck, draw 2. Pretty self-explanatory. Added bonus in here is putting your servants on the bottom of the deck and being able to play them out for 1. Hachiyak we spoke of earlier, your Boo Chain. Now, Surprise Attack Frieza is really interesting, especially because Jacob had it had enough sense in his mind to go ahead and put in the deck a secondary Xeno chain, right? So the 3-drop Majin Buu comes out and destroys a card, which then allows you to trigger Surprise Attack Frieza. Surprise Attack Frieza, 15k critical battle card, has been out for a very, very long time. It has the pseudo unique, permanent where you can only control one at a time. But the good thing about him is he's a 4-drop Frieza that you can Xeno evolve or, go up into your Xeno chain, into your Double Striker. And as you can see, he's playing 4 of his main Parasitic Ball and 3 of his secondary Parasitic Ball, which is going to allow you to go into a secondary chain. If for some reason you can't resolve your Parasitic Dragon Balls, you can just play the 4-drop Buu off of the Dragon Ball and look at top 7 for another guy. So there's a lot of synergies here. There's a lot of different ways that he made the combination of Xeno chains efficient. Worst case scenario, it's a 5k combo card, right? So it's not even that bad in a vacuum. But just having that secondary chain in case your opponent is trying to deal with your first one, you have an answer or you have something to come back on the clapback. So we already talked about Royal Absorption. Secret Rare of choice is going to be the Secret Rare Mass Saiyan, the Ape from set 10. It's just a really good card. It has a lot of applications. You probably don't need to run a Secret Rare in this deck, but if you have it, why not? Now, as far as side deck is concerned, you have your Majin Vegeta SS3 Unison here, which is just, again, more mindless aggression. You have copies of Koitsukai. You have copies of Deborah. Shout out to Jacob. That was in one of our Tech Talk videos here on the channel. It's just a really good card to help deal with field spells right now, especially against Red Broly with Vampa. I don't think you can really deal with Baby, but not many Babies were played. So it's just a lot of different field applications for Deborah, but mainly Red Broly is gonna benefit from Vampa the most. Meki Kabura, if you play Yu-Gi-Oh, this is Prohibition. Anything, if you know what your opponent's playing, there's a lot of linear-based strategies right now with set 12 meta. So if you can play Meki Kabura and make the right call, you're gonna save yourself some turns. We talked about Charismatic Villain being in the side, which is, again, it's a card that's usually main decked, right? So it just gives you, the peek behind the curtain as to what Jacob's mindset was in playing this deck. Just aggression, balls to the wall, and then you side in the defense if you need it. And then I really like the 2 of Gohan. Vegeta does a really good job of controlling his own life, so getting to 3 and reducing the cost of Gohan is not a problem. Obviously, he comes in, he's a 25k double striker with deflect. He can pop a card or reduce a marker on a Unison, so he has a lot of different applications there, but I think the way Jacob formatted his main deck just made it so that you wouldn't have to rely too heavily on the side. And that's how I preach that when it comes to deck building here. Like, my philosophy is you want to build your deck. You want to build your main deck as best as you possibly can so that you can side into pieces if you need them. Like, I don't think you should build your main deck with the assumption that you're going to lose game 1 and side into your good cards, because you're already losing yourself game 1 and you're going to put yourself in a tougher position to come back and win that match. So I think you should build your deck as best as you can, your main deck, and then side into pieces that you might need for certain matchups. So this is pretty much his deck profile. I would love to just kind of hear your guys' thoughts as to what changes you might make, if any, and let me know if you guys have had success with Majin Vegeta as well. Again, shout out to Jacob for hooking me up with the list so I can show you guys, and definitely shout out to Jacob for winning that entire tournament and just piloting Majin Vegeta like masterfully. Obviously, not to take anything away from Dylan, he played, launch very well too, but you can clearly see that, sometimes that all that aggression and just having to defend through all that is just a really tough time. So let me know what you guys think. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Please hit that notification bell so you can stay up to date with everything No Counters, No Combos. We really do appreciate the support, and we'll see you guys in the next video. Be there or be squared.